School districts in California would be banned from forcing teachers to notify parents if their child asks to go by a new pronoun.
A grand opening for a high-rise homeless shelter featuring apartments with skyline views, a gym, even a cafe.
This is an opportunity to redeem yourself. And if you could name 3 LGBTQ advisors for your campaign and 3 drag queens in San Francisco.
We're going to take a look at 3 different stories coming out of the communist country that is California. The first one is a bill that's already passed through the state Senate. The bill would ban school districts from requiring teachers to notify families about their child's so-called gender identity, which in normal people terms means if a teacher grooms your child into changing their pronouns, then they are not required to notify the family about that.
School districts in California would be banned from forcing teachers to notify parents if their child asks to go by a new pronoun. Today, the state Senate approved this proposal. It now heads to the Assembly.
AB 1955 would prohibit schools from implementing policies that require parents to be notified about their child's gender identity or expression without the child's consent. Supporters say it's important students can come out to their families on their terms. Before the vote, parents, advocates, and legislators voiced their opposition to the measure. They say it sidelines parents.
You know, this is a parents' rights issue. When you're talking about a child announcing that they are gay, that's one thing. But when they want to medically alter who they are, that is a medical procedure that parents have to be involved in. There is reasonable ways of dealing with this issue, and we need to get to that. AB 1955 is not that.
I have never seen an effort to damage the relationship between children and their parents like this one, especially at a time when children need their parents' love and understanding the most.
This is similar to another bill that actually passed and then was vetoed by Gavin Newsom that would have required judges to take into account whether or not the parents were affirming a gender identity of a child in custody cases, which again in normal people terms means if you did not go along with the lie that your child can change genders, then they were going to take that into account during the custody battle.
This is a bill that would require a court to consider a parent's affirmation of the child's gender identity when determining the best interest of a child. This bill would also require a court to strongly consider that affirming the gender identity of a minor is in the best interest of the child if a non-consenting parent objects to a name change to conform to the minor's gender identity. This particular bill adds the very important factor that affirming a child's gender identity is in their best interest.
Moving on from their latest groomer bill to their latest attempt to fix homelessness with more government funding. Have you ever wanted to live in a $600,000 condo in Los Angeles with a city view? I don't know why you would want to do that, but if you do, then you're in luck because all you have to do now is be homeless.
I'm going to show you what $165 million will get you. It's considered affordable housing, but the cost to build this type of a project, it still adds up. Each unit costs nearly $600,000, and it's being funded by taxpayers. Take a look at the images here. There are 278 units in this 19-story development known as the Weingart Tower. It's intended to help people currently without shelter on Skid Row. This will be LA's largest permanent supportive housing project. There is an entire floor of offices for caseworkers, and the list of amenities is pretty impressive. As you mentioned, there's a gym, an art room, a music room, and a computer room and library. People living here will enjoy 6 common balconies and a cafe. The $165 million project is receiving permanent financing from Proposition HHH, which voters overwhelmingly passed in 2016. The new tower is also receiving state housing funds.
I'm sure that taking people off Skid Row and then putting them in condos that millionaires would purchase is going to just go perfectly. On the slim chance that this does work, which obviously it's not going to work, it's not a long-term solution to homelessness at all. They're building a $165 million building. You can't replicate that across the country and not even across the city. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the debate for mayor of San Francisco, which is now being referred to as the Woke Olympics. It's being referred to in that way because San Francisco Mayor London Bream got to ask one of her challengers a question, and she used that time to question him about how many drag queens he could name. What followed was typical California politician pandering.
I'd like to ask Mark a question. You were at the Harvey Milk LGBT Democratic Club and couldn't name any LGBT advisors to your campaign. You were at the debate last week and couldn't name any drag queens on your own. I was wondering if you could, this is an opportunity to redeem yourself. And if you could name 3 LGBTQ advisors for your campaign and 3 drag queens in San Francisco.
So we're not going to revise the drag queen question from last week. But what I will say is I'm incredibly proud of the support that I have from our LGBTQ plus community here in the San Francisco. Thank you. I have a former member of the Board of Supervisors, Jeff Sheehy, who is a close friend and a supporter of my campaign. I have a member of my staff, 2 members of my staff from the queer community here in the city of San Francisco that I won't dignify this question by actually naming exactly who they are. But what I will do is stand by my record in supporting our queer community here in the city of San Francisco. When I was a member of the Board of Supervisors as a straight white male, I was the one who authored legislation to make sure that same-sex couples that work for the city of San Francisco, they were being taxed by our federal government for their health care benefits before same-sex marriage was legalized. I was the one who authored the legislation to make sure the city of San Francisco reimbursed those same-sex couples so they are treated equally in the eyes of San Francisco residents, equally in the eyes of San Francisco City Hall. I will stand by my record of that, and I look forward to the continued support from our queer community throughout the city of San Francisco. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
School districts in California would be banned from forcing teachers to notify parents if their child asks to go by a new pronoun.